Yeah, Baba. Yeah, Baba. It's neat.
Hello, Temo fam, yo tem, mi kwe mo fam, mon kan bagmene ni famo, oyi wala don wa denche ake ofebe, ni mene nwe, wabana sanigba, ngona wa ake mene nwe, wasa wakwe kon for God and country. So oyi wala don wa denche, keji okwe, ni famo de mi pa wo fai bomo de ni ojani okehame, ni ameba fita woye, ona boni nchon. Platforms are boni oyo no fe bomodo o individual friends ni ka okpa me ba sumo ne ke no kone makwa bo fa bomodo no ke am ka yo edwomo ko no sumo no chon ka wo comment section there alone na man your screen there no obanyo share thoughts with me ye no koni the voice of the people ni da ochie wemo ni na ma comments na make ba ye video say ni wo fi o ye mbu afen na nke mo channel no kaji okwa yue mo mfoni ko bia no ba sumo ni mambie anu odwomo chomo ye here o cosmo no type o na boni chom ba nyo send me voice note ko send me voice note ba fita other voice notes ni in the show no nke me screen no ke mambie wu na bon odwomo chomo o na boni chom dwomo fe ebe mokome yichomi enye yue no ko no ke me pa agbe ba nyo send me voice note o na boni chom respectfully ni eni ye osusumo mi ntonye alo ke mi pa agbe ye ko ke ba ke man bi enwe na bonwo jomo chomo oyi wala don wa ami gonti no ni ya anwe ko like mo show ami meaning nke bo ba yue the regional house of chiefs kun ni nke bo ba yue Ngleshie Alata Chieftancy no ni nke bo ba yue ko Ngleshie Alata Chieftancy ko no le no ko regional house of chiefs tumo boni nyele omwe ona boni nchon no ni nyenu da na ni you regional house of chiefs ye ma you ko ke kan ko meto esa na dwale. You understand what I'm saying? Because it serve a purpose. Regional house of chiefs, one of the core functions yake keji chieftaincy disputes by region me bona boni nchon ame ba ko ni ame settle ni ame fix na kan issue na kan chieftaincy dispute she regional house of chiefs monwe ame fuel chieftaincy disputes ni your man. You understand what I'm saying? Ame ke petro in shwe lano aloje na ga call ame ke petro in shwe lano ni wa chieftaincy disputes ni wo yo ame ane chofe ni ne so keji moko ni a purpose one of the core functions Jiakeshi eba sasande ni lemo efe sande na kan no ke okọ ese na moye na kan no esana kipi. You understand what I'm saying? Esana dwale because look magia chema sajin ni tumobono no ni okame bakpagbe look I've provided you with enough evidence. You may not like the way I present my case sometimes. Maybe you may think I can sometimes say you're too harsh. I get it. You understand what I'm saying? My choice of words could be better. I agree because so I agree. My choice of words could be better. But you cannot deny the fact that the House of Chiefs is serving a purpose, and for that reason, it's an adwale. You understand what I'm saying? You know what? And I would like to make a serious plea to the regional house, to the chieftaincy minister, Honorable Ahmed Ibrahim. Look, if you happen to know him, right, and you have some sort of association with him, some sort of a contact with him, I would like for you to respectfully cut this portion of the video and send it to him. You understand what I'm saying? Because seriously, at this point, I think we need an intervention from a higher power. You understand what I'm saying? And the immediate power, you understand, that should intervene is the ministry that oversees the regional house of chiefs. And if that is not going to work, we may have to elevate it to a higher power, maybe send it to the chief of staff and even to the president. You understand what I'm saying? Mr. Minister, Chieftaincy Minister, Honorable Ahmed Ibrahim, the regional house of chiefs seriously needs to be looked at. I think it's about time that you take a critical look at the Greater Accra Regional House of Chiefs. If you have any interest, right, in solving the chieftaincy disputes, the first place that I would entreat you respectfully to look at is the Regional House of Chiefs. We have a bunch of leaders at the Regional House of Chiefs, starting from the president, who is clearly, right, is clearly compromised in so many ways. And as such, he cannot perform his functions properly. Maybe properly is too harsh, but fairly. The president of the Greater Accra Regional House of Chiefs is compromised. And as such, he cannot perform his functions as president of that entity fairly. And Mr. Minister, respectfully, I challenge you. This is not something that I am saying alone. You understand what I'm saying? As a YouTuber. But I challenge you. If you find a few interns, right, from your office and send them to the streets of the Greater Accra region, have them ask, right, the residents of our region, the indigents of this region, whether they will be happy for the Regional House of Chiefs to be closed down or not. And I guarantee you, 90% of the people that will respond to that particular survey will respond in the affirmative. They will tell you that they will be happy for the Greater Accra Regional House of Chiefs to be shut down. The Regional House of Chiefs is causing more harm to our region than any other entity in our region, especially when it comes to our traditional affairs. Almost all the leaders over there are compromised. There are some shady underhand dealings that go on there. The registrars, the people that work there, look, everybody there is compromised. They are able to forge signatures, send documents through that clearly are fraudulent documents. This, amongst many, is what is happening at the Regional House of Chiefs. There are a whole lot of corrupt dealings. You know, I'm saving myself from using the word corrupt, but I think I have to use it. There are a whole lot of corrupt dealings at the Greater Accra Regional House of Chiefs, and as such, they cannot function properly. They cannot operate fairly. Hence, the various chieftaincy disputes that you see in our region. If you can investigate the Regional House of Chiefs, you would come to the same conclusion that I have come to. It completely needs an overhaul. If it cannot be shut down, if it cannot be closed down, then it needs a complete overhaul. So, sir, respectfully, like I said, if you have any interest at all in trying to solve the chieftaincy disputes in the Greater Accra region, I would like for you to start from the Regional House of Chiefs. Please, take a critical look at that place. Thank you. So now, Tumaboni, you all, look. Neo da ifio wilinchi. He gave a prophecy a couple of years ago. Egba. But only the sad thing, Jake, le prophet ne hana can prophecy, right? Le prophet ni eha na can prophecy. Le prophet ne hana can prophecy. Le lenche e believe a prophecy ni eha. Ona boni chon. E believe a prophecy ni eha. Onishishi. E believe le dienche a prophecy ni eha. Surely, you and I feel willing a prophecy ni eha a couple of years ago. Le dienche e hen na can prophecy ye. Ni efe yake bachu na can prophecy ye ni nkwe. Skwe no ni teno ya Ngleshie Alata. Manchene sande na chamoko icho tu ne gboe. E yano. E bami. Na kainoko bami. Now, obabi yake mini prophecy. Inke niyo daife wilinchi inke intwa na kan video intwa abo amasa matwa eko. Ni makebo no wani inke abo ake eha prophecy. What way?
They have discussed issue, they have come to a conclusion or what have you. You just accepted the CD forms from the traditional council and you are telling me you want to forward it. I say no, leave it. I told them point blank before God the man that if you sense this CD form, the problem will be compounded more than what you are saying today.
Well, even at that time you were against ni Adamalache. She proceed
I want the right thing to be done. I want the right thing to be done because it will be very painful for you to have an extract, go that extra mile to have an extract. Ni ona to enjoy no kaba yimanche. Ni at the end of the day na bata shina ba kwa mianwe baba lake o beje bodi. She be mokroko. Kaka je bodi mokroko woloni angmana kete na kefe extrate na kan wolono abasa angmana ke konkon eye sponge. Then what kind of shame ato na ke hamo nyimanye wonwe wotwinshi need the right thing must be done. A committee, a legal committee should sit down and look into this academic tradition and our custom. There has been a breakdown of customs here. Let's amend it. It is courage to do that.
Okay, unfortunately anye kwa afi.
It will not surprise me. Next time, Mokomi by emerge as Gamanche. It's a disgrace to all of us as Gadangwe be. Gadangwe where me. No, like you rightly said, if this committee be ni achene ni gbemefo jinji abe, but they have the wisdom, they have the knowledge, they have the age that they can talk about this thing on a quiet. Ni anye amo ni shishinu back okay. So let's go to the regional house and tell them. Or let's do it. Without any problem, then the region will not come here anymore. The regional house told Manchester come etashina memo na be fence efo no wakwa mi anwo kojo men oji money sande ya ne menenwe pede all the contestants say pede aka okay wo fe wonu menen sande ya bele afi kusu agbede kusu mpa ba afi ka gbe na kuna ka na ka ha me ka ha me ni money region efi extrate ha ni le non ni zion
okay
abaya hie ni je le non ni besana kwa gbajano na banya to kuna femini ni akejele jeme ina agbaji gameye kusu na keto manche ayeshia esa hade fe problem alake kejeshi ane ya shiane kejeshi ane ni dano ba pene no ake bo no ba okadeko ye ni sana na yo ya ke ni mama ayo ejake ni bo no ehesa obabu ma ngbe mama ayo sanale no ka atashi abie ne fe
shamone we balake.
Right. So like I said, anytime you match a video ne habwe in call buake no fe no ni new that feel willing chi a video name be. There is not a single thing ni you heard from this video ni I disagree with. You understand what I'm saying? Every single thing you heard from this video, it's 100% on point. But yet a flache bomoni to ekokolo nyojibo aloje na ayuole gan. But keji ojio anukwale. Ni osumo ni no fe no ayagbena. There is nothing ni you heard from the except na ni ntwe habwe ni oba disagree with. But unfortunately, new difio welenchi ni neke no ko na eje dan. Le dinche e practice no na you nke abwa ke e prophecy. Ni le prophète le dinche gba na gba e ke gba tuni. Iche prophecy ne ya e ke tuni nku esu kamashi manchesani ana no mo. Ene ashe njeme. That is number 1. Number 2. Ngleshie Alata Chieftancy prophecy ne ya ni bi ne yue mi ning ke abwa ke ni bi ne yue fe jale e kan gbe totomo koklo abe nkele kpan be 100%. Na kan no onwe mi ke abwa ke kanji woche professor ni odafio welenchi e jeledi nche yue mo nonkwe shikwe no ni ya no ya Ngleshie Alata magiache ma sane e bammi. Look, he spoke about a breakdown of customs and traditions. Yeah, the way ni watu wa manche. Clearly, no, it take place. Ya Ngleshie Alata. And Neo Daifio Welenchi is well aware there is no way in Neo Daifio Welenchi there has been a breakdown in customs and traditions. Keji ebale Ngleshie Alata magiache ma sane. There is no way. He is well aware. So, a couple of years ago, ni will identify a breakdown in customs and traditions. Say, nakamanche akakole. Couple of years ago, he said that from the clip I just played for you. He said that in there. So, what has changed? This time around, there has been the same breakdown of customs and traditions, right? Yeah, Ngleshie Alata Chieftancy. Ninuele fetu mwena ekwa kompo. Ewenoko. It takes courage to do the right thing. Nwewo nakambia me a couple of years ago, he was courageous enough to say ake process no na ke ni adama la chenchon nakam process eja. So this is where I come in. And I ask again respectfully, Bekebibio icheni, esani bioles nakan sandi. She, please pardon me. Ake sani mabile nakan sandi. Where is the courage this time around? The courage ne gather at the time. Ni kake benona chon ni akentoni adama lache na afe a documentation nuewo at the time disagree with the process. Where is that same courage? That same courage, Elaje. Because Shika Echakenine. Where is that courage? Look, there is nothing. Your video in Trabuemi, Ninka Neo Daifio will in Chipa Agbe. She's sunny and impure jacket, mini chake. And clearly, the only thing there has been a corrupt dealing. And there continues to be a corrupt dealing. Or dealings. You understand what I'm saying? And when that happens, men need or expector exhibit moral character of the highest order. And it is very disheartening and extremely disappointing. And you know what is preventing them at the time from forming a legal committee? Ni atashina kwa issue sefi. Koni money esani eye manche. Ni ana. Ni odaifio wilinchi. Biane Boji, president of the regional house of chiefs. What is preventing you, or what prevented you from forming a legal committee? Ni abakwe sani efe na yue Ngleshie sani. Dani o process moko papers. Dani o induct moko as a member of your council. What changed? What changed? Okay, look, installing a chief in our community should not be a problem because we have laid down rules and procedures. Min quote verbatim. On your video, installing a chief, right, in our community should not be a problem because we have laid down rules and procedures. Once again, except this time around they laid down rules and procedures. Neo Dafion Welenchi was referring to at the time. It appears to be nowhere. It's like Neo Dafion Welenchi laid down rules and procedures. He was referring to at the time. It's like this time around there, they laid down rules and procedures. Neo Dafion Welenchi don. Niole, je wa customs ke traditions many wa chon no na ke war manche. Surely the regional house of chiefs. Ame di nchewu ame rules, ame procedures, ame ba induct moko. Ame ba process moko CD forms. Neo Dafion Welenchi led regional house of chiefs. Once again, their own rules and procedures. Forget about our customs and traditions. Ni problem ye. Alo akwaya no jogba. Ni abanye na ke fix Ngleshie Alata Chieftancy. Le regional house of chiefs ni Neo Dafion Welenchi leji president ejeme. Ame own rules and procedures. Ni ame ke inductor me. Ni ame process or more documents. Neo Dafion Welenchi led regional house of chiefs. Ame rules ame procedures. Ame ke tuning. Because once again, there are some corrupt dealings. Ni yano a regional house of chiefs. There are some corrupt dealings. Ni yano a jeme. Me record video ne Sith me. Sith me screen me Ngleshie Alata Chieftancy. Esania tano. The regional house of chiefs. Bononi you are to it's an attack say no your regional house of chiefs. Mean it's an Ngleshie Alata Chieftancy. Regional house of chiefs can't do alone. Military rules say ke ake keji aye mancheko sane military rules say ke and the rules say ke keji sane ye mancheko ye na ye abanya induct lo. Look, na can court order na me rely on no court order. I apply for a stay of execution. I appeal it. So no ketuning that court order alone on yo ketuning go ketuning but obu the judicial process. And the regional house of chiefs is a quasi judicial body. You understand what I'm saying? So it's a shame a quasi judicial body will not respect the judicial system. Ni ameje ewale eko e hame. Ni amenya ameketa majinache masanji no. Sane a regional house of chiefs ayeko. So mini yegbe ni regional house of chiefs yo ke me enyo ke saneba na sha mokome. Me record video on the 6th or 7th, allow 8th, depending on all location. Now, square mene esani aye Ngleshie Alata Chieftancy again. She yeli ejake amete no na mesha Dr. Prince Ashanku Brusque omo. So nyemeni nye yoje mokomeni sani ye. Nye award le title omo. Before even put ni nye ba dumo nye ba ke seconds out backs. Nye ke title omo. Te fiote ni nye ta sane mi ni nye yo. Ni title nye ke omo. Now, regional house of chiefs my letter. Now, Dr. Prince Ashanku Brusque cases ni eyo yeah Ngleshie Alata Chieftancy. It's about 3. So far can go to 3. Regional House say can go 3 cases. Your Manchester need your 3 at least can look 3. Now Ekome has got to do with Niokpe. I think Niokpe the 5th. Niokpe legit jaseche. Ni wafe wali yake jaseche ni tuwa manche. Alo jenake. No ke jaseche etoko bue. Imo ya no yo manche. One of the cases has got to do with Niokpe ni jenumo. Ngleshie Alata jaseche against Prince Ashanku Brusque, doctor. Now, nina kansania ni shukwa sani mena aye komo. Amengwa letter Regional House of Chiefs say in kengwe screen no. Niokpe the 5th petitioner, right, / appellant versus Prince Ashanku Brusque, aka Weche Kojo the second. Weche Kojo elenche awolomo. Weche Kojo the second awomo. Menye kayo Henry Vanderpoy, I think, right? Henry George Vanderpoy. Atolomo. Weche Kojo the second atomo. Now, legit defendant said, "Eke to ni Okpe the 5th. Take notice that the above petition / appeal has been fixed for hearing on Tuesday, the 15th day of April, 2025. Of 12 p.m. when it will come on for hearing. If / when the petition / appeal is called and you do not appear and answer, the tribunal will proceed to hear the case without you. Issued at Dodowa this 21st day of March 2025. So 21st day of March 2025. Na mengma letter kia Ngleshie Alata Chieftancy Niokpe ni jenumo. Ake sani ende keba against Dr. Brusque. Abache, come on. Now, mind you, I mean that Dr. Brusque, 27th February 2025. So now me induct latan. A month later, nyamengma letter ake amenchesani ni jase Ngleshie Alata Chieftancy kele yo. Once again, noni you are dane. So clearly, nyeliake sane ye. Nyeliake Ngleshie Alata Chieftancy ke sane eba. Ni e challenge e manche ni yo legit Chieftancy ni Odaifio Welechi way about customs and traditions. A breakdown of customs and traditions. New Odaifio Welechi leke clearly onyoye manche ni Chieftancy ni eyo akuchu emi no ta wo ye manche e challenge boma e kejele tobo. New Odaifio Welechi spoke about customs and traditions. So military wa custom, military wa tradition ke bale manche to. E ji ake Chieftancy jimoni to omo. No wa te fi ote ni 27th February 2025 o sha mo kwa wo mi ni e Chieftancy ke mono sha la wo mi itokole. Manche ni boke yo jele yo manche ni won kelemba ni wo oye nkele ten Sunday ni ma prove ni ma kebu ake le mi Chieftancy ne sani ma to manche le itokole manche. A breakdown of customs and traditions. Nakanjino ni wache ni Odaifio Welechi we. Now, Niokpe lawyer said, "Na me ni she ni eno. Ni I may file a motion against Nakan hearing ne. Ake Regional House of Chiefs. Nyenye shamu awojomo, no nyenye shamu awojomo we. Te fi ote nye no nye ba tasani emi. Inke before na babo seconds out box. Nye amo title omo. No nye amo title ono. Te fi ote nye womo ni no mo akele ji manche. Nye no kenke sane ba na ke mo aye nye tan. So file a motion against Nakai no. So come on. In the Judicial Committee, Greater Accra Regional House of Chiefs, 14th April 2025. Ne file. Now, you can come on. Nyope, the 5th, Justice of Ngleshie Alata, Jamestown, legit petitioner, versus Prince Ashaku Bruce Kwe, Kwekuma Choshishi Manche, Accra, legit respondent. Now, motion on notice. Hey, motion on notice for an order for the Judicial Committee members to recuse themselves from the matter. Motion on notice for an order for the Judicial Committee members to recuse themselves from the matter. Now, a motion on notice by Benjamin Savor Esquire of Accountable Legal Counsel for and on behalf of petitioner/applicant praying this honorable court for an order for members of the Judicial Committee sitting on the matter to recuse themselves and or upon the grounds contained in the accompanying affidavit, and for such further orders as to this honorable court may seem just. Court to be moved on Tuesday, the 6th day of May, 2025, at 10 o'clock in the forenoon or so soon thereafter as counsel can be heard. So clearly, New Peloya Kadabi Bomo Nyewole Ake Nyen recognize the Laka Manche. Eba fita nye from what I understand there recently ne po amegmelebe eta magina chama sande konklomi adame kuma sande. So te fiote nye moni nye la wo miye ne ba fe nye nyano ni nye kelen chuni eje ke woke sane ba ni wokelen ye sane nye no nye ba atami. Ona no ni nke ebu ake kanji ni o dai fie welenchi e follow no ni e video edi ntwa abu emiye chukwe wo ba shembie. Mo sane ye regional house of chiefs say me keleba ake ewe manche alo e chuni ake manche alo e declare ake Ngleshie Alata manche si mo wo Ngleshie Alata bi watoko le manche wa meni wato Ngleshie Alata manche mi ja seche ni mi sane mato Ngleshie Alata manche mi itoko le manche na kansane e kanye nye yeko na kansane se nye shala wo mi nye sala wo mi ata nye nche sane ni mi nke ba ni nye yie ni nye wo mo manchomo ni o dai fe welenchi ya video ni ntwa abu amie you are the regional house of chiefs ameto manche shimi nke ba regional house of chiefs ni o dai fe welenchi o regional house of chiefs nye to manche Ngleshie Alata. That is just a fact. Nye to manche Ngleshie Alata because bodi nchoda nwemo okwani akeba atuni nuni oyue mo mfoni na emi iche keji odomono no na aketuni nkwe nke no ni ya no Ngleshie eyan no oba blame lawyer ake lawyer kedabi nye be egbe ni nye ba tasani emi bomo onyele jeje shala wo je mo amu akele ji manche ni mi nke sane mba keje manche ni nye unye nke mi akele ji manche te fi oto nye no nye ta mi ni eyi osane. If only New Difio Willinchi in me chinshi ni tomobone legal committee na kwesanie na bomofe motwe ni akwesanie na namoniji manche nkwe gaga kweku menu ni yo gaga mi ni ete aloje na gaye ko menu yo ne gbe na che. So what changed? Your video severally about the regional house of chiefs no feel like me we why New Difio Willinchi echon enewo amakane affidavit ni wacha was sande no na meke. Now no ni kane abwe motion notice akegmene ameba movie koni majiacheme ni yo jame fe ametemo kwa akata no akata case de no 11th day of March 2025 na file e jame machombo no niba amakane affidavit yabo mene na ate machombo no niba amakane. Now affidavit in support of the motion onake lawyer Ewe I Vincent Ujonye of Onamed of Aneke Kemike Mimbucha Ugbe Hujionye of house number unnumbered house at Ogbojo in the Greater Accra region of Ghana make oath and says as follows: that I am the clerk of the solicitor for the petitioner / applicant hearing, that I am the deponent hearing, and swear to this affidavit in support on matters that are within my personal knowledge. That my lawyer shall seek leave to refer to all the processes filed in this court so far. That it has come to petitioner notice that the Honorable Court, the registrar, has issued a hearing notice to the parties to appear before the Judicial Committee on the 15th day of April 2025 for the continuation of the matter. That it will be against natural justice if the panel members who sit on this matter are allowed to continue sitting as panel members in this matter. Bomo, ye agree akeleji manchomo. No kake sane ba jame ni a challenge manchayele. They feel ten in no nyeta sane ni nye yo sane. It is clearly against natural justice. If only Professor Neo Daifio Wilinchi had kept to his word. This is because the petitioner instituted this matter before the Judicial Committee seeking the following reliefs. Now, Botwe, a declaration that the respondent is bound and estopped by the judgments of the Judicial Committees of the Traditional Council, the Eastern Regional House of Chiefs, and the National House of Chiefs in the case of Ni Otokuno Saki, substituted by Ni Ayikwe versus Abidabi, in parentheses, just substituted. In parentheses, Noko by Ni Ayikwe versus Ni Aja Kwao, the second. Now, so I'm in Chono Kwake, Saneko, Ni Ayomo, a regional house of Traditional Council, the Eastern Regional House of Chiefs, a National House of Chiefs, Ni stop. Bona Bonichon, watch Blue Square Homo. No, that alone, poor, it's any regional House of Chiefs. I may pause with no fear, no concern. Only. Now, a declaration that Ni Okwe family are the only kingmakers of the Ngleshie Alata Jamestown Paramount Stool, as in the case of the Republic versus the President, National House of Chiefs and House of Chiefs and Attorney General, ex parte, Ni Ashitetete, and Ni Okwe. So once again, Ake Ayesaniko, Ni Nekesanine, no Junone Kote, the Republic versus the President, National House of Chiefs and Attorney General, ex parte, Ni Ashitetete, and Ni Okwe. Ni Nakensanie, e declare homewake Okwe family, ame pe, Jimeni, ame yo, jase che Ngleshie. Sania ne make a kote ne ona boninchon allo mini po achole mini lawyer be you all a side authority ko e hambo akeneke authority ne no mean to money mean ka ke nye kwa no nye declare lele mi opeweku woji manchetolo ya Ngleshie Alata you anaken. Now, a declaration that the purported installment of respondent as Ngleshie Alata, Jamestown Paramount Chief, is null and void ab initio, has not been nominated, elected, and installed by the petitioner's Jase family. So, once again, ninya yue ake, no na meke tomo ake, sandia ni kanja mo ni 1,000 ninya ye no ne, no ne ninya yeko, ni gbomo, nye wola ake leji manche, nye kela ake leji wo manche, ni wo wake sanie ba na ake la ye, nye unye nke wo nye me, nye ba ye sanie, nye di enche nye chonye ni nye nke wo ake mo leji manche. Now, ake toe ni wache Prince Ashanku Bruskwe eke atole nakano aka hi abo mi kula keje shishije mi to aka kwe aka bukula keje shishije ton aka kwe le kula eja ake ame jase wekuwe ame nominate ile ame elect ile ni ame tokole manche hu so keje ake saneba jase weku ni to manche ame ke saneba ake money nye ke manche jile wo jase we kuni wo to manche wo nominate kole wo elect kole ni wawe watoko le manche te fi oteni na kemo nye shala wo mi akele eji manche. An order annulling the purported installment of the respondent as the paramount chief of Ngleshie Alata, Jamestown, on the grounds that he has not been installed as such by the Jaseche and the Jase of Jamestown stool. Okay. Emo manche ni ayela womie afomi. Ejake weku ni yo Ngleshie Alata ni amameto manche ametoko le manche. Benke bo lawyer said the same thing about you le shenyo ke shiete na ke ba Trump up charges. So bio yake Minijinoni Regional House of Chiefs feel. Weku enke weku ni to manche ke bo ake ashe machine what toko le manche. What toko le manche? No te fio te ni ye la woni. A declaration that Nia Umakojo III, known in private life as Henry Nunu Kopo, is the customarily installed paramount chief of Ngleshie Alata Jamestown, having been so installed by the kingmakers of the Ngleshie Alata Jamestown stool. Ake ya ma mesusu momie ame ya mesusu momie moni ame to le mancheji Nia Umakojo ni jete. Ya me mesusu momi no na me nkeji. Now, perpetual injunction restraining the respondent herein from holding themselves as Ngleshie Alata, Jamestown paramount chiefs, or any persons or institutions from holding the respondent as paramount chiefs of Ngleshie Alata, Jamestown. Ake injunction angmeno. Ake le. Eka che manche ye eko. Ake le Ngleshie Alata manche. Ni agbeni we nuchumo e konklo meun ke me konklo meun fe ne ame mata ameka yosele. Ake le Ngleshie Alata manche. If only knew that if you're willing to. If only noni ledi enche na ne wie. Edumono no ne ke tuni nkwe. Shwe noni ya no ne eyano. Both way. A declaration that the respondent does not hail from any of the two royal ruling houses of Ngleshie Alata and is not entitled to ascend to the Ngleshie Alata paramount stool. Ake money regional house of chiefs nye shala wo mi ake leji Ngleshie Alata manche shian yenyo na to Ngleshie Alata manche miye eje na ken shian yenyo ekokula mi eje adanse eje ajumanku eje kwe kuma chonshi. In last say when moko pe mo kai mi ege ibi ni tete watch a Prince Ashaku Bruce Square e papa manche ni e boli e bol aga manche bi ye manche boli manche bi alo mi male manche bi yo manche bi ye manche we ku emi ne je beje le ko mi afo cheni fo le beje le pe ji che bi so manche bi e ye manche Prince Ashaku Bruce Square e papa e ye kwe kuma chonshi manche. So technically sane you alo je naka ekole na buko ya ma fidi. Manche bi eye manche na bi yo manche. Gan wakusumi ye manche na bi le yo manche. That is even to say okay Dr. Prince Ashanku Bruce Square eje shia enyo na to manche. But unfortunately, she ain't na to manche mi eje mi jase fue weku ani to jase nkake Prince Ashanku Bruce Square she ain't na your Ngleshie Alata manche mi na kan she ain't eje kokula mi no egbe ni esani eye Ngleshie Alata manche. You cannot tell me ake neke yue mo ne ni o dai fe welenchi ele. He knows very well. That it is a travesty to justice that while the issues in this matter are yet to be determined, the Greater Accra Regional House of Chiefs found it proper to approve and send the Chieftaincy declaration forms of the respondent to the National House of Chiefs for his name to be entered into the National Register of Chiefs. Attached and marked as Exhibit NK1 series are copies of videos and a search conducted at the registry of the Regional House of Chiefs. Once again, ake eja ni begbenu ni ejini fon ake biami ni saneye ni aje. Your Regional House of Chiefs say no, I'm about forward. Dr. Prince Ashanku Busque, Kaya National. Akeleji manche. Meanwhile, Sani Ekono Kanya na me check mene lawyer say ko get abi. Nyenye ta Sani. That it devised logic that a set chieftaincy declaration forms of the respondent do not meet the threshold of the Greater Accra Regional House of Chiefs in respect of the right filling of the said chieftaincy declaration forms as provided in the response of the registrar of the Greater Accra Regional House of Chiefs in a mandamus application filed by the Ni Auma Kujo III at the High Court in Accra. Okay, form sepo chieftaincy declaration form sepo but na ke feel Dr. Prince Ashanku Brusque no. I'm a Regional House of Chiefs say I'm a processes now me lay aka chono na aka feeling I can form say but no ni ame here wo me je na kan gbe no achon ni ame kai amake nye ani wole gbe no na ke chon bia me ni wo ke ne uma kojo e form say ba aka nye shala wo me aka leji Ngleshie Alata manche nye ani wole aka boni wa feel form say ke ni bi na asani wo ke ba wo ke fitai no wo ku wo se ni wa sa shine ba wo che Prince Ashanku Brusque no nye fe na kan benye kayo lawsuit ni Ngleshie Alata Stool Council a file against Regional House of Chiefs say I may provide with a copies of Biami na me kenya uma kojo note ni Regional House of Chiefs say kakuse keba akaboni ame feel ni bi na isana me ka fita go no ame momi. So what changed? Okay, Professor Neo Daifo Wilenchi was prophetic in video and in Chohabwe. If only the prophet ne na can video me juemo ni jeda e can tuning. If only juemo ni je Professor Neo Daifo Wilenchi da e can tuning nke no ni tenu Ngleshie Alata and no ni yano ne eyano. Rules and procedures. That is what he said. Well, your rules and procedures. Now, that the Greater Accra Regional House of Chiefs, despite the above lapses, went ahead to induct the respondent into their fold, and that makes it unlawful for the same chiefs to sit as panelists in his matter because their decision is manifestly known. Sani ani wakaba aka jele ji manche nyenye shala wo mi aka manchomo no nyeme ni nye shale te fi ote ni nyeta ne ke sanene no mi te fi ote nyeta ne ke sanene no mi ni nye ba declare ke mo la sane ye manche. You see what I'm talking about? Professor Neo Daifo Wilenchi a fairly was big time. As the president of the Regional House of Chiefs, he has failed every single Gandangbe indigene. A fairly, and as such, you can look, the Regional House of Chiefs, it must be closed down. The Greater Accra Regional House of Chiefs is not fit for purpose. Ojotra, kamale kakutumpo, no soji no ni ya no jeme. Nyama chia cheme nye mu afita yake nye nomi. Ake leji manche. If you take a saneba na challenge mancha yele ni no nyeta mi ni yosane. In view of the acts mentioned above, it is proper in law that the panelists handling this matter be changed in the interest of justice, as their involvement in this matter will not afford the petitioner the needed justice. Dr. Prince Ashanku Brusque, Ebo is Sunday Mintamo Regional House of Chiefs. Professor Neo Daifo Wilenchi, oh, blow, oh, Bogandang baby fair blow, oh, Ngleshie Alata blind go blanta blow, oh, Ngleshie baby fair blow, Professor Daifo Wilenchi, oh, Bogandang baby fair blow, oh, Bogandang baby, gbeke bibi ni yo Ngleshie Alata fe na me na to enjole fe bofe. That going forward, the following panelists, Nene Waka, Nene Tete Otu II, and Betronlo Ni Ashite Akonfra III, should not be panelists in this matter. Wherefore, I swear to the affidavit in support of the motion sworn at Accra on this day, 14th day of April, 2025. And of course, minute to mobeni nkebu ate na tie to moboni lawyer ewe ye affidavit e ke support motion e mi mene na ate majiachame no na acha megbe. They were ready to sit on the case ke judge kome. You understand? Ke judge, I'm sure judge ne ba high court ke judge kome ni lawyer ke judge ke no majiachame ni to say money wa kesani ebe against le amela wo miomo no wo move akaji ame fe eje me no agana yue na kan so se ke me gana yue na kan teshi manche le teshi mlamla no na eshi je me shi le teshi e fambi ani tala je me ame sumo na beti oshi na bi ni o pe lawyer ke mi ne tawo na fe ke ame unsumo na me ba ta case me ya ke sani ya me icho mi ame yomo ameke prince ashanku busku eji mancha amela wo mi omo na amekele nchuni ejo momo ngote fi ota ameta asani emi njeje ke enkabo pagbe amenya ameta asani emi no asana mo ameshi no bia na asani e achi keto achi ato te fi ote ni sanjin enyo kete ye mo ye regional house of chiefs say Ngleshie Alata clearly I demonstrate that forms ni lekeba aka Ngleshie Alata traditional council feeling ale na can forms I feel it fraudulently because oh yeah Ngleshie Alata still council minutes I mean meeting me no ba na be potena me tashina me agree aka me council I make pene as required by the same rules and procedures New York Regional House of Chiefs say. So more a feeling form fraudulently keba. Ye shala would. To be inke akemi ake ane boy sande no tamo wopo na to me ake before na ba fe na kema sande judge kwa swebo inda. Na no boy sanje no tamo. And the judge is well. Regional House of Chiefs. And the judge is well. No, Sunday Achikete, June 19th. June 19th. If only Professor Neo Daifio Wilinchi had followed the same rules and procedures he was preaching about a couple of years ago, we would not be here. Ngleshie Alata bene jeme jo because I mean now me manche. How can you induct a person when there is a pending case against him at a very institution they will induct like a woman? How? This is basic logic. This is ABC. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. ABC. Basic logic. How can you induct a person? Yeah, the very institution no induct. Look, they cannot rely on that court order because they can court order a challenge They apply for a stay of execution against like an order. So technically, that order cannot be effected. It cannot. I have another example. Near Malache. In National House, say, J.B. National Register, right? Nekete kote, be winnie. Ne winnie. Ni mini. Regional National House of Chiefs say, I may appeal, and I may file for a stay of execution. Nwe wani na can judgment alone na can rule in any Adama Alache na. Nwe wani na can rule in anya enforce. Because there is a stay of execution against that particular ruling. That is just basic law. Namone lene. Nwe keji moko a secure order from the court. Ni appeal against na can order na apply for a stay of execution against na can order ni na can sanie agree aka ba che na chekwe onyo enforce na can order. There is a stay of execution against that particular order. Onyo do monono ke tuning. You don't need to go to law school to understand this. You don't. I think about Wabie. But like I said, look, if you have any form of association with the Chieftaincy minister, Honorable Ahmed Ibrahim, I am sure majority of Gandangbes, right, would be extremely grateful to him if he moves, right, if he moves to shut down the regional House of Chiefs. I don't know if constitutionally his mandate, he has the authority to do that. I don't know. But sir, if you have the authority constitutionally to shut down the Greater Accra Regional House of Chiefs, please do. Please do. And like I said, do not take my word for it. If you have interns, right, in your office, send them out there, right? Send them out there and let them conduct a survey, right? Let them conduct a survey of indigents in the region and see what sort of response you would get. I guarantee you, over 90% of the indigents of this region would tell you to shut the regional House of Chiefs down. I guarantee you this. I'm willing to bet whatever money you want to put on it. You would receive 90% approval from the indigents asking you to shut down the regional House of Chiefs. Anyways, what you will have done? Bye bye.
Yeah, Baba. Yeah, Baba. It's neat. Them say you want to chop my